Hello everybody and welcome to the Sunday video. Now if you watched the Overwatch Weekly on Wednesday, you would know that this video is actually going to be talking mostly about the deal between Blizzard Activision and Hasbro and Lego to create toy sets and games and whatnot with the Overwatch brand. And it's a very interesting deal. They also, of course, made a deal with Uniqlo for clothing. I don't really care as much about the clothing, to be honest. I mean, you can do anything with clothing. There's a lot less you could try to speculate about, because it's like, well, they can just put a logo of any person onto a shirt or onto pants or whatever and throw it out there. But the toys, I think, are a little more interesting. So let's go into it. So just real quick, a little quick recap of what we know. So the Licensing Expo 2018 in Las Vegas, which is which was in May 22nd through May 24th. There, they kind of announced that they had this announcement that Activision-Blizzard would be partnering with both Hasbro and Lego to create toys. So Hasbro has been awarded the master toy license for the Overwatch brand, and they said that they will bring a wide range of play experiences, including a Nerf product line, games, and more. And of course, there is also a deal with Lego to create sets of varying price ranges. So we're going to start. We're going to dissect this a little bit, and we're going to start with the Hasbro stuff, and then we'll move into the Lego stuff at the end. So Hasbro is a big company. They have a lot of things underneath of them. You might not understand how much they have. Everyone knows that they're big, but they have a ton underneath them. They have a bunch of board games: Battleship, Candyland, Clue, Connect 4. They have all the Cranium games, Chutes and Ladders, Guess Who. They have all that kind of stuff. They have Bop It. They also have, of course, a bunch of types of action figure lines. They have G.I. Joe. They currently have the Star Wars license for action figures. They have Marvel stuff. So they have a lot, right? They have a ton of things, okay? Where I think this goes is I think we will see a lot of different kinds of action figures be made for Overwatch. I mean, they have Transformers, they have, you know, the Marvel, Star Wars, they have G.I. Joe. They have a bunch of lines that are relatively proven. So I expect we will get an action figure line, and they'll probably do it in waves. That's what a lot of places do. So they might do like Mercy, McCree, Soldier 76, Reaper, you know, a couple other big ones, Diva in the first wave. You know, they might. I mean, I'd assume they would make a Diva mech display or something, but you know, some of them have to be different size. Obviously, like if you look at the Funko Pops that they have, the Diva, Diva, Roadhog, and Reinhardt ones are much bigger than the other ones. So, you know, the action figure line, I think, is guaranteed. You know, will it look more like Star Wars Black Series? Will it look more like Marvel stuff? Will it look more like G.I. Joe? Will it look more like Transformers? You know, we don't know yet, but I expect we will get a line of action figures. Then you get the board games, which is where I really think it's interesting to look into, because we could get some board games. One that really would work well with Overwatch, just because of the number of characters, is Guess Who, right? Now, normal Guess Who is 24. As you know, Overwatch currently has 27 heroes, and you know, Guess Who only has 24 slots. But you know, you could obviously, you know, not include some or expand the board, because I think is it 6 in a row? 4 rows of 6, if I remember correctly. I haven't played Guess Who in a long time, but you know, you wait until you add, you know, a couple more. You know, you have 30. You make it 30, and you just, you know, play. I mean, look, do I think we'll get Overwatch Guess Who? No, but we could, and it wouldn't not work. There's enough characters and heroes that you could actually do that. So I think it would be interesting. Other board games they have Operation, so we could, I guess, theoretically see a Nerf or not Nerf, an Overwatch operation with like all about Mercy doing an operation on, I don't know, Soldier 76 or something. They have Sorry. They have a bunch of different games. They have Trivial Pursuit. We get Overwatch Trivial Pursuit. I don't think that'll ever happen, but it could. Game of Life Overwatch. Trouble in Yahtzee. Twister. I mean, they have a lot of games. So not a lot of them I think would work for Overwatch, but like you could. Operation is one that would work. You could, I guess, make Monopoly work. Guess Who would definitely work, but most of the other ones wouldn't really work that well. Clue, you could do Clue. That would be interesting. Overwatch Clue. that would be interesting. That would be really interesting. You're just like, yeah, let's see, who killed Jack Morrison? I think it was Gabriel Reyes. Oh, it wasn't in this case. In this case, it was Tracer. That should be a really fun game to play. Honestly, I hope it happens now. I really do. I think that would be really, 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 really entertaining to get. But yeah, and I think there's a lot of cool things you can do with some of these games. But now I want to move on into Nerf, because I think Nerf is going to be an interesting place to look for what they're going to do. I made a list of a couple weapons that I think have the best chance of being added as Nerf things. It's hard to tell because I used to follow Nerf a lot more than I do now. I don't really follow it that much anymore, so I don't really know what kind of things to really expect to be made into Nerf weapons. There's a couple that I'm like pretty sure will be. The main one for me that I'm like almost positive will be made into a Nerf gun is the light gun. Diva is super popular. The light gun is very recognizable, and I think it would be one of the easier ones to make. I think the Peacekeeper has a good shot. You stylize it a little bit. It wouldn't be exactly like the Peacekeeper, but that one could be made. I could see the Dragon Blade being a thing. Nerf makes, foam swords. That's always possible. Theoretically, I could see us getting the heavy pulse rifle, Soldier 76's weapon. I mean, I guess we could get it. Like I said, I don't know if they've made things like that recently. Same with, like, say, Widowmaker's Widow's Kiss or Honest Biotic Rifle. Those, I guess, we could see. I think it'd be cool with the Widowmakers if they gave you the ability to, like, if there was, like, a thing you could, like, slide, right? Because if you, sorry about that voice crack, but, when you're playing the game, you right-click to scope, and it, the barrel extends out and the scope comes up. So it would be cool if there was like obviously you could just have it where you can add the barrel and add the scope, but I think it would be even cooler if there was like a little lever thing on the side, and if you pulled it back, it would extend the barrel and raise the scope. You could, take some shots that way, and then you could close it, and then you could shoot it normally. Now, I don't think you would be able to have it where it would be fully auto as like the assault mode and then be sniper mode, but I think it would be a cool thing you could do, and I think that would be fun. That'd be I think one of the cooler things to see, because you think about like what that would be. It'd be like a very, very, very groundbreaking type of Nerf weapon, to my knowledge. I don't think there are any at the moment that do that, but I mean that's something I think could definitely be doable, especially if it's the is it Rivals, the Nerf Rivals series, where they have like the little balls instead of the darts. You could definitely do it with those, I think, because you don't have to have a clip. You can just load it into wherever you load it in. Though they have clips, but you could load the clip in obviously and have it, or you could do like the normal dart. But I just think it'd be cool to do it that way. Other weapons where I start to go, I don't know. I mean, maybe we could see the Caduceus Blaster, which is Mercy's pistol, or maybe we could see Tracer's pulse pistols be made, or at least one of them be made. Maybe we could see Sombra's machine pistol get made. I mean, like, there's ones you could definitely make an argument for being made, but I think it's most likely that we'll get the light gun maybe the Dragon Blade, and maybe the Peacekeeper, and maybe we get Honest Biotic Rifle and Widowmaker's Widow's Kiss. I think those two have a shot. I think it would be really cool if they made the Widow's Kiss actually have the, something that could bring the scope and the barrel out. That to me would just be one of the coolest things we could ever get, but I don't know. Most of the other weapons, I'm not too positive we could get. Now, maybe if they really want to make Pharah's rocket launcher, they could do the big. They used to have like. They have rockets now. They do have rockets you can shoot in Nerf weapons. So maybe they could do that with Pharah's rocket launcher, but I don't think they will. But they could, in theory. We could also see Hanzo's Stormbow. I forgot to mention that. That is one I do actually think we could definitely see. So the Stormbow I think is a really good shot, potentially. Maybe we see Junkrat's frag launcher. They used to have a, I think it was called the Buzzsaw, and you would like rev it up, and then you could shoot it, and it had these like green balls that it would shoot that were like bigger than what we have with Nerf rifles. But you would like rev it up, and you would load them into the top, and you'd shoot it, and it would just push it into the like revving drum, like the revving wheel or whatever, and it would just shoot them out. So I mean, that would be interesting if they brought that kind of mechanic back. I don't think they will, but they could. Other than that, though, I don't really see any other serious weapons that could be made. I just think there's not a there's not a way to like make them feel genuine and accurate. Like I said, they could do theoretically the Hellfire shotguns if they wanted to. I don't think they will. They could do like a weird thing with Diva's fusion cannons, like you could like wear them and you can like shoot them. That would be weird to me, but they could. We could get like a model of the Caduceus staff. I don't think we'd get a Nerf gun for it though. I don't think it wouldn't do anything. But they could just make a model of it. But other than that, I really don't expect us to get any other weapons. We could, I guess, get the rocket flail, maybe, or the forge hammer, which is Torbjorn's hammer, and Brigitte has the rocket flail. If they want to do more melee type weapons, I don't think we'll get the rocket hammer. Rocket hammer's too big. But the rocket flail I could see us getting, but potentially it wouldn't be able to like chain. It would just be like the normal rocket flail. And then the forge hammer I think we could get because that's pretty small, so we could definitely have that. But honestly, there's not a ton that I think we could theoretically and like likely get. And there's some, but I don't think there's a lot. But we're going to move on to LEGO now, the final part of this video. And LEGO to me is one of the more interesting ones because they mentioned, and it's very important, that their LEGO sets would cover various price ranges. So originally, before I really read the article, before I read it fully, and before I saw that piece of information, I was trying to figure out what is it going to be. Are we going to get like actual LEGO sets like we do with Star Wars or Batman or the Avengers, where you actually have, a set? There's one that's like $15, there's one that's like $100, whatever, and there's various ones in between. And you get your minifigures, you get like an action scene or whatever, a building or something, and then you can, use it as like a playset, right? I was wondering if we would get that. There was also the chance that we could get the buildable figures like we see with Star Wars. Star Wars has these like buildable figures. They're not quite Bionicles. They're a newer thing, but they come with all the what you need. You just build up these bigger figures. They're like similar, like I said, to Bionicles. Definitely similar in size, but they're a little bit more detailed, and they have more like unique pieces to them. Or I was wondering if we would get a minifigure line, like we've seen for the past several years. They'll do minifigure lines, and sometimes they'll do them specifically for certain things. So we got like a Lego Batman line when the Lego Batman movie came out. We got a Simpsons one a couple years ago. So I was wondering, maybe we'll see that. But you wouldn't be able to put all the heroes in there because some of them I don't think are going to be normal size minifigures. So this all had me kind of thinking in my head, what are we going to get? But once they said various price ranges, that's when I knew that sets, the kind of buildable playsets like we see with Star Wars and whatnot, are what we can expect, right? Something where you buy a scene of some kind and you can build it. And it'll come with minifigures and it'll be a good time. Which then made me wonder and had me thinking, well, what kind of sets could we get? So I have a couple. Here, a couple like potential ideas. Some of them, of course, are connected and don't have to necessarily be their own thing. But I was just running through my head. So one of the ones that I think we could get, and I think we very likely will get. I'm a little tired. I'm sorry. Is a set of Diva's mech. It makes sense to me to have a set that's just Diva's mech. You add a couple other minifigures in there. Maybe you add a little like something else there, but you have Diva, you have the mech, you build the mech. Maybe it comes with like Tracer or it comes with Widowmaker or something. Whatever. You add another hero in there, and that's a good $15-20 set probably. Probably 20. I don't think it would be 15. It would probably require a decent amount of pieces. And I mean, they could make an entire like print for it, but I think they'd rather just make it a set where they can do stuff. Something else, if like you're gonna have to build in some way, is Orisa. Now maybe Orisa isn't big enough to be its own set, but maybe like a Numbani attack, right? So you have like Doomfist, you have Widowmaker, and you have say Orisa. I think that'd be an interesting set idea. Maybe you could do Doomfist's Arrest. I know Orisa wasn't there, but you can always change things a little bit. But I think just Numbani set with Orisa in some form would be nice. And Doomfist would probably have to be in that set as well. There's already like a gauntlet piece. There's been gold ones. They made one for a Thanos minifigure that you could have bought in a tiny little set, with like a tiny little Thanos that had a gauntlet on it. And they had it in silver in a Spider-Man Homecoming set. I do know a lot about Lego. That's why I know all this stuff. I have a very extensive knowledge on Lego. I still follow it, and I have some of them still. So, like Doomfist, I don't think would be that hard to make, and a lot of the minifigures I think would be that hard to make. There's some that would be a little bit challenging, I think, because you have to, of course, have big figs. I think with Winston, Roadhog, and Reinhardt, you can't make them normal size minifigures because they're much bigger than everybody else. Diva's mech would have to be something big, and Orisa would have to be something big. But you could build those. But I think we would have to have big figs with Winston, with Reinhardt, and with Roadhog. But then you also have things like Brigitte's armor. Like, you have to make Brigitte look armored. You have to make Zarya look kind of bigger. In a way, you could make her just like a bigger minifigure, or you don't have to. There's just a lot of like things that I was trying to think of, and I went through and I was looking at the list of heroes and trying to see how they would translate to minifigures. Some of them are pretty much like, that one wouldn't be hard. Diva would be an easy one to make as a minifigure. Tracer would be easy to make as a minifigure. Soldier 76. Anyone that doesn't really have a lot of like interest, like anyone that can have something that very easily could be printed onto a minifigure, or they have like no helmet or something like that, are pretty easy. One of the ones that I'm a little concerned about is Genji. I hope they don't just make Genji have just like a head, a normal minifigure head with some weird look. I would rather than print a Genji head, make a new piece for it, a molded piece for it. They did it with Groot from Infinity War. They gave him his own molded headpiece, and I would hope they would do the same thing with Genji. It just makes more sense to do it that way. Reaper, you'd hope they would give him some kind of cloak. They don't have trench coat pieces, but at least a cape I think would be fine. And they probably would put a cape, but there's always ones you just kind of have concerns about, and you hope that they do in a way that is done correctly. Like Sombra, you'd hope that they would have like a hairpiece for Sombra. That would work. They could make one. It wouldn't be that hard. But you just kind of hope that whatever they make is going to work and it's going to make sense. And it's always hard to meet expectations of people who really want them and have all these like ideas of what they're going to look like, and sometimes they don't, because realistically they can't. So it just comes down to making sure that it works somewhat and doesn't look terrible. But other set ideas, a payload would be interesting. It could be the one on Numbani, where it's Doomfist's gauntlet. It could be the truck from Dorado. It could be the car from Hollywood. You could do like a payload with like a little, facade of a building, and you could put that in there. A little bit of space in the building. just put some decoration and whatnot. That could be a set. You can throw, 4 or 5 random heroes in there. It doesn't matter who you put in there. You just throw a bunch of them in there, and you can say, all right, you get to decide the teams. You could say it's, you could have Tracer and Soldier 76 and Winston and Reaper and Sombra. You could say it's those 5, and you just throw them all in the set, and then you just say you get to decide who's on what side and whatnot. I think that'd be interesting. A control point as well could be cool. In some form, it could be from a control map, could be from an assault map. Obviously, I think it would be cool. You could do Ilios, you could do Oasis, you could do Numbani Point 1, you could do really any point that you have to attack and gain control of, you could do in a LEGO set. But I was trying to think of what would be one of the most interesting sets you could do. What would be like the coolest and like kind of absurd idea out there that you wouldn't really expect them to make, but they could make it. And LEGO makes a lot of ships. They make a lot of bases and ships. So we could see a Watchpoint Gibraltar or a Swiss headquarters or something like that. But they really like making ships because ships are very distinct, right? They have a very obvious look to them, and they're kind of, I think, easier to make, and people like ships more. Ships are more exciting for people to buy. I think they sell better. I would assume they would sell better because you can actually use them for a lot more. So I was thinking, what would be an interesting thing to do if there was a ship? And I just thought, the Orca. What if they built, or what if they made a set that was the Orca? I think that'd be a really cool set. It would be a bigger set, obviously. You could throw in a bunch of minifigures in there. It could be you could have a Tracer. You could have a bunch of just different Overwatch agents in there. You could have Mercy. Just a bunch of them in this Orca set that you buy, and it has a bunch of different areas you can put minifigures, and you have a little basketball hoop and all that kind of stuff. I think it'd be so cool if they did an Orca set. I just think it would work really, really well. So that's my like big idea. That's the one that I'm really, really happy with. That I'm really kind of proud of. I think that'd be a really cool set idea. But I'm going to end this kind of rambling. It's been 22 minutes already, so I'm sure people don't want to wait this long for all of this. But I think there's a lot of really cool things they can do with this. There's a lot of really interesting things they can do, and I'm excited to see the direction that they take it. And I think it'll be fun to see what we get. But I'm going to end this video here. If you enjoyed, please consider liking and subscribing. Comment down below what you think about this deal that was made, what things you think we could see, what things you think would be interesting to see. I'd love to hear from you, but I'm going to sign off here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all tomorrow. Alright, see ya.